watch him feather that right foot as he's going through. He's only working the first 2 barrels of the carburetor, not getting into the 4 barrels right away. And then when he comes off the turn, wide open, gets the 4 barrels in, he's gone. You can watch those pedals with Scott Pruitt up in the right-hand corner. It's just like a dancer going to a dance. Everything is precision, everything is premeditated. He knows exactly why he wants to be where he is with his foot.
The only substantive change in this run has been Al Unser Jr., who moved up from 11th place, worked his way up through the field, and now runs in 5th place. The 4 contenders for the championship, Wallace, Martin, Pruitt, and Bill Elliott, all ride together on the course. And Pruitt is now trying to work on Mark Martin. You got a good view of how Pruitt gets himself around this track. You're on board now with Dorsey Schrader, and that camera is located up on top of the car, on the roof of his machine. Gives you a very unique view.
It gives you a real view, Paul, of what the racing looks like. That's almost at the driver's eye height. So you can see what he's really looking at. He can watch the guy ahead of him and kind of plan where he's going to go. Like, for example, Schrader right now, he's working the back straightaway, getting a good draft. And you can see as he runs up in the car ahead of him. There's the shutoff marker to the left. Down into turn 5, right here is where little Al lost it. Right out there into the thing.
See the curves there? They can really unsettle the car, too. You can't afford to run too tight in the inside of the curves because of those substantial curves.
Good opportunity to watch from the top of Dorsey's car. At the front of the field, status quo. Rusty Wallace still has the championship in hand, still being chased by Martin and Pruitt, with now 6 laps complete.
This turn, number 7, is probably the most important turn on the racetrack, Paul, because it leads down a pretty fast front straightaway into the number 1 turn right here. Now, you can get a jump on the guy there and not braking going into the turn. This is one of the best places to pass.
Looking back from Rusty Wallace. Now onto the fastest section of the circuit, Watkins Glen. And joining Scott Pruitt now, riding in 3rd place. Let's just ride with Scott for a second. Up top revs through there, heading down for station 5.
Little Al coming up. He may pick off Bill Elliott. Yes, going into turn 5, he outbrakes Bill Elliott just where he made his mistake at the first lap of his race. Little Al has been picking off drivers with regularity.
Well, Al Unser Jr. loves this racetrack at Watkins Glen and has a number of victories to his credit. Let's get an update on his situation from Gary.
Well, one of the things they normally do after the draw is fit the driver to the car, get the pedals adjusted so the driver is his most comfortable in the cockpit. And that's doubly important here at the Glen, because instead of the ovals where they've been turning left all through the first 3 races of the series, here it's left and right. Little Al didn't have that opportunity. He climbed into Kendall's car. Remember, Tommy Kendall, the tallest of the IROC drivers. Little Al may be having to reach a little bit to be effective with the pedals, but he didn't have the luxury of a custom fit. But he's making it pay off right now with a terrific drive here at the Glen.
So the eyes are on Al Unser Jr. as he moves into 4th place and now tries to catch Scott Pruitt, who protects his line just a bit as they come down off of the backside. At the front of the field, it is still Rusty Wallace, still running in championship form. Mark Martin chases him, and the fight is for 3rd place between Pruitt and Al Unser. At Watkins Glen, New York, Mark Martin is tenaciously holding on to the back end of Rusty Wallace. Martin is well aware that the only chance that he has at all is winning this race, while at the same time seeing some of the other contenders in the championship fight fall by the wayside. So he's doing everything that he can to get up to that front spot.
Now, Rusty right now is in a defensive position, Paul. He's not going up to his full speed. And I think what he's doing is taking care of his brakes, trying to ease up on him. He's letting Mark Martin get a little closer to him because he's got to have brakes. Otherwise, if Martin has better ones, he's going to outbrake him.
Onto the pit straight. You can't say that Martin isn't trying. He's given it everything he can. Is this a move to the inside? Definitely is. Will he try him in the first corner? He just starts out there. Lets Wallace know that he's there.
That's what you call a fake pass. Trying to get Rusty worried, trying to get Rusty to drive it into the corners deeper. Obviously a brake strategy.
The look from 3rd place, Scott Pruitt's car, as he tries to force both Martin and Wallace into braking errors. Scott Pruitt, a most remarkable young man, but right now it's two remarkable young men. Scott Pruitt being chased by Al Unser Jr. Remember, Jr. is in the car labeled as Tommy Kendall, and now Jr. closes right up behind Pruitt. Jr. tries his move on the long backside. Can he get past? He's got position on him, takes the line away from Scott Pruitt. And Al Unser Jr. has third place. Pruitt back to fourth. Remember, little Al started in last place at the green flag.
Al Unser Jr. is showing a mastery of this course which he has shown before, but it is all the more extraordinary for his having had to start at the back in a car to which he was not fitted to the seat. It must be that he's fitting it all right, but he must also be driving, in a sense, over his head to accomplish what he's doing. Fabulous car.
Well, Sam, if you remember, every year we've ever watched Al Jr. here, he passes going into turn 5. He has a very, very good eyesight in order to be able to get into there exceptionally deep.
Good depth perception.
And that's where he just does most of his passing, and he always done that here at Watkins Glen.
Rusty Wallace possibly on his way to an unprecedented 3 straight IROC victories and maybe even a championship. Back at Watkins Glen, the International Race of Champions, the 4th and final race in the 4-race series for 1991, and Rusty Wallace is being challenged by both Mark Martin and Al Unser Jr. Now, all Al Unser Jr. can do is win this race. Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin are both very definitely in the championship fight, and the 3 of these cars running together have now separated somewhat from Scott Pruitt, who sits back in 4th position, now with 15 laps or half of the race complete.
Boy, you can watch. That's Rusty Wallace right there. Watch him when he went from 2nd to 3rd. Boy, he really drove the shift into that. Now, he really needs to stay in the lead because the guy that could beat him is right behind him for the point. And winning it, hey, that's where the big money is, Paul.
That's true, but if Mark Martin nearly beats Rusty Wallace and Wallace finishes 2nd, Rusty will still win the championship because he's led more than half the laps here in this race, which gives him the bonus points that he needs for that. So he's in a comfortable situation relative to Mark Martin as long as Martin doesn't put him off the road.
But look at this. Scott Pruitt, in that last lap while we were watching Rusty Wallace, has fallen back 2 positions, and there's no obvious indication as to why.
Well, it's probably going to be a brake problem, and you just lose your speed. Let's watch his speed and see what he does with his brakes. There's better than the throttle. Coming out nice, wide open. Remember, when you see him pumping like that, he isn't really. See him pumping. Look how far the brakes are going down. They're clear to the floorboard. He doesn't have good brakes now. And that's going to be the problem with a lot of these guys that haven't taken care of their brakes really good.
You know, it was interesting that Dorsey Schrader anticipated that. One thing that cars and drivers can do is they can tell the crew how they want their driving position set. And Dorsey Schrader said, I want you to put the clutch or the throttle pedal, not the clutch, but the throttle pedal down because I want to anticipate the brakes being way down toward the end of the race, so I'll still be able to use them both.
That was smart thinking, and Dorsey Schrader right now is right behind Scott Pruitt. So the fruit of his good thinking may be about to come to bear on this situation.
Most drivers are very particular about little changes that they want in a car from circuit to circuit. But there are also changes made in these IROC cars as they move from a super speedway to a road racing course. Here's Gary Gerald.
Since this is the first road circuit for the IROC drivers after competing on the ovals at Daytona, Talladega, and Michigan, significant changes have been made in all of these IROC cars for their handling on the road course. You look down in the wheel wells in each corner and you can find a couple of the changes. These brakes get a tremendous workout at Watkins Glen, so special ducting, sending cool air into the brakes, has been added. The springs have all been changed, softening up the suspension setup, trying to make this car as easy to turn to the right as it has been to turn to the left on the ovals. Weight distribution, very important. 175 pounds of weight ballast, lead, has been installed in the frame rail on the right side of the car, used to offset the natural weight of the driver and some of the cooling equipment that's housed exclusively on the left side of the car. Back in here underneath the fuel cell, the fuel pickup point has been changed from the oval configuration to a road course. And another interesting little change can be found right down here on the side of the car. Side view mirrors, only rear view mirrors on the oval. But here, the driver has to know who's attacking from the inside or the outside, so he relies on these side view mirrors as well. The IROC mechanics have been busy. They have a checklist here of some 70 items, ensuring that these cars are as roadworthy now on the road circuit as they've been all year on the ovals.
And so while these Dodge Daytonas may look very much the same as they have earlier in the year, there are tremendous changes under that sleek skin. And then after the IROC crew is done, the drivers add their own individual changes. You're taking a look now at the entire field coming through there. There's two road racers, Jeff Brabham and Bob Wallach, as they battle at the back of the field.
Two good road racers. In fact, you know, Paul, I really thought that Wallach, for example, would be a terror here today because this is his type of racing. He does heavy cars and he does road circuits, and he's quite good. He's a long-distance racer. Jeff Brabham, same type of cars. IMSA cars, GT cars, both of them are champions.
In fact, every driver in the IROC field are champions. Rusty Wallace has led right from the green flag as we look through the entire field. Back at Watkins Glen, New York, a sudden display of blue vapor on the left side of Scott Pruitt's car. Looks like it might be a motor problem.
Well, it certainly could be, Paul. It could be two things. It could be one of them could be brakes, and the other one could be an engine. Just down the left front was going to be brakes. There'll be something wrong with it because it's not an engine. Scott has been without brakes. We know that. It's got to be his problem right now.
This is the first retirement since the restart. All 11 cars were in the race up until this point.
Let's keep another thing in mind. They only have 1 gallon of water to cool these brakes.
Well, it's very difficult to tell exactly what happened. Here it is again, Scott Pruitt suddenly with a big display of smoke at the back of the car. It looks like most of it was coming from the left front, though. Now, there it is once again. We can get a description of what happened. Here's Gary Gerald.
And obviously disappointed Scott Pruitt. Was it something to do with the wheel bearing or the brakes on that left front?
Front wheel bearing. Just froze up and was causing a lot of problems driving it, and it's tough. I sure would have rather have kept that first start, though.
Yeah, after the disappointment of having to start the second time, how did the second one unfold, and did you have any opportunity at all to get your nose in there for the lead?
No, not at all. Rusty was aware of what I was going to do and just did a little bit more evasive maneuvering, and I was stuck back there to end up third.
How tough on brakes has this course been up to this point for you?
Well, it's been pretty tough all weekend. I think that, you know, the wheel bearing was going away and was causing me some problems up in the front, and you know, I was trying to milk it along and make it the best I can. Then a bunch of smoke came out the back and parked it.
Well, better luck in the future, as they say. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
All right. Paul?
Official report on Scott Pruitt is a wheel bearing seal let go.
Rusty Wallace took a very cautious line through turn 5 just then. A little bit hard-pressed to explain that. It's the first time he has not let the car slide fully to the outside of the track.
And here comes Bodine, Jeff Brabham, and look at them as they work their way around this track. Little battle at the back of the field. The fight that matters still up at the front. Jeff Brabham working on Jeff Bodine.
Bodine has been slowly working his way backwards, which I've got to think. Now, Bodine is usually from this part of the country, incidentally, from New York. He's been slowly working his way backwards now. He's a good road racer, so I've got to assume he's having some brake problems also.
This is that fight once again. There's Big Al with Brabham. Boy, look at Bodine as he comes right in on top of Brabham. Bob Wallach sitting behind this. I don't think Wallach's accustomed to seeing that kind of close competition. He doesn't like cars clapping together.
Actually, Bodine is from Chemung, New York, which is less than a half-hour's drive from here. Jeff Brabham is from as far away around the world as you can possibly get. He's from Australia.
Back at the front of the field, Mark Martin is still trying to catch Rusty Wallace. And Al Unser Jr. is closing up at the back of Martin.